apologize.
Okay. As if I'm in the wrong. Okay, cool.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Legs, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting me and supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. If you're unsure if you want to subscribe, there are multiple shows that I've done from the top down, and it's not just Love is Blind, okay? This is not just a Love is Blind recap channel. I really want y'all to know that I like other shows, and I don't know, man. I just feel like I've gotten to a point where I do not want that content to be the focal point of this channel sometimes. I mean, will I do the new seasons? Probably. But yeah, there's other shows that I've recapped, other content that I recap. So check out my channel and just give it a whirl, give it a look-see, because there's a lot there. Or continue to watch here and then you could subscribe when you feel free. Last but not least, I have a channel membership and I got some new members. I've been getting some new members every day. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel and going that extra mile. It really does mean a lot to me. I've had a crazy year. I've talked about some things on here and it just means a lot, you know, that everything really makes a difference. If you would also like to support the channel just a little bit more, you can click the join button. It is right next to the subscribe button. So if you're not subscribed, you could probably, you know, no obligation though. Obviously, you guys watching and interacting with the videos is what matters the most. It makes the algorithm do the thing. So thank you. And thank you to those of you guys who are watching the other content that I'm recapping, the other shows. I love the fact that a lot of you guys are like, I would have never watched this show if you didn't talk about it. So thank you so much. Today, we are going to start a new show that dropped on Netflix, and it is called Cheat Unfinished Business. We are going to go through episodes 1 through 4, and this show has been a very interesting watch. Now, y'all know me. Let me just tell you, like, if you cheat on me, there is no coming back. There is absolutely no coming back. I was cheated on in a long-term relationship that was 6 years long, and I left the person. And there was literally no looking back. There was times where the person tried to get back with me and I was just not interested, because for me, I feel like cheating is one of those non-negotiables in a relationship. I think for me, I'm all for being a ride or die, but as soon as you break that trust with me, it's a wrap. So I actually find the concept of this show interesting, because I know there are a lot of people that believe that cheating could be resolved, or under certain circumstances you can come back. So we're going to talk about the first 4 episodes of the show. The couples are interesting. My one critique is I wish there was 6 couples instead of 8. I feel like there's just a little bit too many couples, but the show is really good to watch. I know this intro is a little bit long, but definitely go and watch the show if you haven't. The whole season's up on Netflix, but we're only talking about 1 through 4 here, and then the other clumps of episodes will be out throughout the week. So without further ado, let's jump on into these episodes. So before we begin, let's go over the premise of this. Basically, there are 8 ex-couples here. Some couples that have not seen each other, supposedly, in over 5 years. Other couples that are still on and off. And they all are at this retreat deciding whether or not they want to stay with their partner. Through a series of group counseling sessions, they do have an in-house counselor named Paul, as well as the host of the show, who she's not a counselor, but she's a focal part of it. We see Paul in almost every scene. Through a series of group counseling, activities, meetups with their ex, meetups with other people that they may relate to, they're going to decide whether or not the relationship can function and they can come back together. Now, there is this part of it called the reckoning room, and that is where you are going to be face to face with your ex, air out your grievances, air out whatever you learned from the counseling sessions, the activities, and that's kind of where you will also decide where and when and if you want to continue with the relationship, or if you want to walk on out of there. So let's jump in. These first couple of episodes, we got introduced to the couples. We learned a little bit more about their background story. We start these episodes off with all of the couples at the round table. Half of the couples are here and the other half is walking in. So let's jump in. Our first couple is Connor and Lucia.
Together 4 years. He broke my heart.
They met because he slid into her DMs, and they were together for 4 years. Now, with this couple, you definitely start to see throughout the episodes that Lucia is very much wanting to get back with Connor. She wants an apology from Connor. She wants Connor to come back. Connor is more on the, I care about you, but I don't know that I actually want to be in a relationship. So it's very clear that Lucia is kind of the one who's having trouble getting over things, moving on, whatever it is, that attachment is still there. Now, Liam and Olivia, baby. Liam is an absolute menace.
I'm just confused at how he thinks he's a victim. I don't get it. Like, she literally showed him messages.
This man is an absolute manipulative menace, baby. In these 4 episodes, I was like, oh no. This man, Olivia, you need to run. And ladies, if you see this man, run away, okay? Now, Liam and Olivia, they have not spoken to each other in 4 months. He cheated early on in the relationship, and they were together for a decade. They were together since high school. Now, look, I think high school sweethearts can work out, but I also believe that during those periods of time, you grow so much, and it becomes very, very challenging if you guys don't grow at the same rate to keep those relationships going. I also feel like when you're in a relationship really young and you don't have experience to anyone else, that is a very large opportunity to be taken advantage of, and for someone to run rampant and do whatever. When that's all you've ever experienced, then you have no way to know what is right, what is wrong, what's okay, what's not okay. Now, Liam is harboring a little bit of a secret. He actually cheated on Olivia again. And she does not know that yet. Or so he thinks. Oh, child. Oh, so he thinks. So he thinks. Olivia is actually aware that he cheated, and we learn that she has talked to the girl in question, and baby, we'll see how that goes. So now we have Kieran and Amberly.
I'm hoping being here, we can make this work.
They were on and off for 3.5 years. There was the cheating there. This couple, they were a little bit interesting. They definitely seem a bit resentful. I think that's another thing that's interesting about these couples, is that we see sort of how are they doing now. Some of the couples literally cannot even look each other in the face. Other couples, it's clear that there seems to be feelings still there. Some couples are very resentful. This was definitely a couple that I felt like was very, very tense. Now, Biggs and Rebecca.
There was allegations about cheating. I was so in love with him to the point that
This is another couple that is very tense. Rebecca is on fire. She is really, really upset. I'm like, girl, I don't even know why you're here, because it seems like you are, rightfully so, very, very aggravated with this man. Now, he does not even address her when he sees her at the table. That's how tense it is. These two do not look at each other. And that is not the first time Biggs doesn't address her. There is activities they do where they sit down and Biggs doesn't even say hi to her. It seems like these two absolutely hate each other. So again, I do not know why they are here. Now for him, there are multiple cheating allegations across the relationship, which again, to me, it would only take one. So the fact that there is multiple, Rebecca, I don't even know why you're giving this man this much of a chance. Now, he does admit that he needs to come clean, that he cheated again. Because there was the cheating allegations throughout the relationship, but just recently, again, he slept with another girl. I believe either at the end of their relationship or they weren't together, but they were kind of on and off. It's very clear with these two, it's on and off. They probably don't end it officially. They just kind of get into a fight and then they come back together. And this is a toxic mess. And they hate each other. They absolutely hate each other, the two of them. So we are inside of the reckoning room where all of the couples are seated. We will meet our other 4 couples in just a minute. But the host posed a question to them straight up. Why are you here? And that's what I want to know, baby. Why are we here? Because again, I think the premise is interesting because I really would like to see if it is possible to come out of some of these situations and have a happy, healthy relationship. Look, I'm open to believing that my mind could be changed. I'm so anti-cheating that I feel like I'm very strict in the way I feel, but hey, this will be an interesting thing for me to watch to see if it's possible. Not that it's gonna change what I do. But anyway, so Olivia shares that she came because she wants to be with Liam forever, but the trust has been broken over and over again. Now, he does tell her to her her face that he messed up in the beginning, and that is it. But remember, Olivia, the girl, reached out to her and told her that Liam did something. So already we see this pattern of Liam being a liar. Liam is a talker. He is a big talker. He likes to talk in circles. He says all the right things, but he's not meaning any of it. Keep that in mind, baby. Liam's a menace. Put him with the other guys on the other shows that are in the menace category. So Kieran admits that she accused him of cheating, but she also, and this is Amberly. Is it Amberly? Is that her name? Yes. So Kieran admits that Amberly accused him of cheating, but there was also a time where she was at her ex's house and she had texted him that they effed, or they were going to F. And whether it happened or not, I don't know. But she admitted that. So with this couple, it is very clear that they like to get back at each other. It gave me Ashley and Grant vibes from Temptation Island, where they do little things to get back at each other. They do these little things to make the other one jealous. And neither one of them is really in the right. Maybe the cheating happened on one end, but it's very clear that they like to stay in this toxic roundabout situation. Now, Amberly says, okay, on the Ring camera, I saw girls coming in, though, into our apartment. So don't try to say that I was at my ex's house. She doesn't deny that, by the way. She just simply says, well, I saw girls coming in. And my thing is, look, cheating in response to cheating is still cheating. Cheating in response to cheating is still cheating. Because why are you staying? Leave. I would never. Now, Biggs admits to Rebecca that he did cheat at the end of their relationship yet again. And Rebecca is in shock because she never thought of him as a liar. And I'm like, Rebecca, wake up, because you said throughout the relationship there were allegations of him being a cheater, but you never clocked him as a liar? Girl, let's stop living in La La Land and live in reality. If there are multiple allegations of your man cheating, you don't think he's a liar? All right. So the couples do find out that they are not going to be living together. They're going to be living in two separate villas, Rosa and Azul, red and blue, or pink and blue. So that's very interesting. And they're going to come face to face in the reckoning room, but they may also see each other in some of the activities. So we go over to the two houses. We have the Azul house, and Rebecca is in shock at the allegations were true. She does realize that this guy that she was with for 2 years, she does not know him at all. And again, Rebecca, I ask, where were you? Where were you during the relationship? Let's keep going. Now, Steph is with Andre. We haven't quite met them yet.
Send me teddy bears.
You know, I saw kids in our future and just starting a whole life with her.
She said that she saw on Andre's phone a text message come up from a girl that said, I miss you. And so that obviously became something. You, at the minimal least, were emotionally cheating, but likely you don't text someone's phone saying, I miss you, unless you saw each other in person. So for Steph, one thing about Steph is that Steph is very clearly in it, and Andre has a hold on her. We will see it. Steph wants to forgive this man so bad. And Steph really, to me, has a very strong lack of boundaries when it comes to Andre, when it comes to what he says. I don't know. I think she's too quick and too willing to forgive, in my personal opinion, but we will see more of that. Now, in the Rosa house, they're over on the couches. Biggs feels horrible, but he feels so glad he came clean. And that is a trend that we see with Biggs, that he feels like he is this big man, big saint, because he came clean about what he did. And I think, to me, that is the most annoying type of person in these situations, the ones that feel all noble and mighty because they came clean about cheating. And the problem is that you still cheated on her at the end of the relationship. There were cheating accusations at the beginning. There were cheating accusations all throughout. And you cheated on her in the end, but you feel so great that you were finally able to come clean. Okay. Now, Andre does admit that Steph has no idea at this present moment that he physically cheated. And Steph does admit that as soon as she saw that message, she was out. We learn a little bit more about that later in an activity, but she basically said when she saw that message, within 24 hours, she was out. Steph's like me. I ain't gonna hold you. She like me. But the difference between me and Steph is that I wouldn't be coming back. Anyway. Next morning, so the host shows up to the house in the morning, both of the houses, the Azul and the Rosa house, and also expert Paul C. Brunson.
We're here. And that means that you've taken the first step to confronting and then overcoming.
Paul is a big facet of this house. And I do think that that's interesting. I like on these shows when they do have a behavioral coach. Obviously, this is not their real therapist, but at least a behavioral coach that is experienced in being able to see patterns and give them real legitimate insight about themselves and about the relationships. So today they are going to be coming face to face with their ex. And basically this is where they are supposed to put everything on the table. Because remember, not all of these couples know what happened, what went on. Some of them are on and off. Obviously, when you cheat, a lot of times you lie. So this is the time where you are supposed to put everything on the table, tell the truth, at least start to step in the right direction. And we will see how these conversations go. So let's jump in. So while they're having these conversations, the host and Paul, the therapist, they are watching on the surveillance cam up in the room. The first couple that goes is Biggs and Rebecca.
Sick. Was it something I've done? Or was it you? Like, what were you wanting to get out of it?
There wasn't.
Now, for Biggs, he says this is the only relationship that he ever took seriously. He does admit to Rebecca that he slept with someone. And for her, she is like, what? I thought we were so close. I thought I knew you, but this entire time you were living a double life. And I wonder what people be talking about in these 2-year relationships where you find these kinds of things out. It's one thing if you're dating for 5 months and this happened, but we are talking about 2 years. And y'all didn't have any conversations. Y'all didn't know what was going on. Now, he claims that it just happened. He's not really sure why he did it. Probably attention. Why do people cheat? For attention or because they have a lack of respect with their partner. Now, for her, she feels like he's an actor. He's painting himself out to be this nice guy. I agree. We have Biggs coming on the screen already crying, doing the most. But again, Rebecca, you're willing to take a lot of this. And I understand that you feel angry, but he's willing to come on here and be this fake joker, this fake remorseful guy, and you're willing to come on here to be angry and get vindication and be right and get that pop kind of ego trip from being right about the cheating. And to me, it just seems like a toxic mess made in heaven, baby. So she said that the only reason why she ended the relationship was because she didn't feel good about herself. So we find out that Rebecca was actually the one that ended this relationship. It wasn't because of the cheating, because she didn't really know. There were allegations, but she didn't have any solid reason. But for her, she talks a lot about how she pushed everyone away. She wasn't feeling good about herself. So that's the reason why she ended the relationship. So she does ask Biggs, had I not ended the relationship because I had my own insecurities and I just felt like I couldn't handle a relationship at that point, would you have said anything? Biggs does not say yes. Let me tell you, Biggs does not say yes. He doesn't say, oh, for sure. Biggs is more like, I don't know. So back in the surveillance room, Paul, the therapist, he's saying that he realizes off rip that Biggs is not as emotionally mature as Rebecca. I don't know that I would call Rebecca emotionally mature. Especially watching this show, I feel like Rebecca is angry. And I feel like, again, Rebecca wants her vindication. And that's totally understandable when someone cheats on you. But I don't know that I would call that emotionally mature. What I do think is very mature, though, is being able to say, hey, I don't feel that great about myself. And because of that, I'm going to walk away. Because I think a lot of people don't do that. And they stay in these messy relationships up and down. You both treat each other terribly. You both cheat, whatever. So I do think that it is quite mature to be able to say, hey, I wasn't feeling good, so I'm going to leave. So anyway, back at the Azul house, Steph is discussing that, blaming Andre to make herself feel better. Remember, she doesn't know quite yet that he did actually cheat, so she feels like she put a lot of the blame on him. Andre is a super nice guy, and that she was not feeling good about herself. And again, she's already putting the blame on herself. Steph seems to have quite a bit of regret about breaking up with Andre. Now, Steph tells a bit of their backstory. They met outside a club, and he would send her flowers, chocolates, the classic love bombing. Okay, it's not always love bombing, but in their case, I feel like it was love bombing because he did cheat on on her, and he was giving attention clearly to another woman. Now, for him, he thought Steph was his everything. He saw kids in their future. He saw them going that extra mile. So when she saw the girl on his phone, it was shattering, saying, "I miss you." Now, Steph immediately left after that happened. Within 24 hours, she was out of that house, and they really have not seemingly had a chance to talk about it ever since. So Steph and Andre.
There was, sexual relations, yes.
You had
Have sex with her.
How many times did you sleep with her?
A few times.
I need number.
Their meetup. Immediately, he says that he misses her so much. She claims that they were best friends, okay? Best friends. And again, I say, these are y'all's best friends? Y'all's best friends are doing you mad dirty behind your back. So, she wants answers. What is this message? Just tell me what the message is. Now, he admits that the messages were not the best, and she asks why. Why did she say, "I miss you"? Why did she say, did you guys have some kind of physical relationship? So he does admit that they were sexual. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. They slept together 3 times. Now, for him, he says that he did this because he felt like he wasn't getting the attention he needed from Steph, and the girl that he slept with was giving that attention. And this is why I say, again, why don't you all have the communication and courage or the maturity level to say that to your partner? Why is your first thought process, to step out? Why don't you guys have it in you to say either A, I'm not getting what I need, or hey, even if you just decide I don't want to do this no more? Why can't y'all do that? Why is cheating the solution? And if you weren't getting that attention or whatever it is that you needed from Steph, then Andre, why do you so badly want to be back with her? Now, for her, she feels very bad that she ended things so abruptly, and she starts sobbing about how she trusted him and all of these different things. And he's kind of like, come on, I'm sorry. And again, you could tell Andre has a hold on her. He's like, can I hold your hand? Can I give you a hug? Can I hold your hand? Eventually, she does put her hand in his hand. And I was like, this is so dangerous. This is so dangerous because this man has such a hold on her. You can definitely tell that they left with a lot of open-ended feelings, especially her. And I worry. So the therapist, Paul, he does realize back in the surveillance room that Steph is quite receptive to what Andre is saying. And I agree. So far, she seems very, very open to simply forgive him. And I hope they can have further conversations about what it is that Andre needed. Again, I am very, very apprehensive of the excuse for cheating as, well, I wasn't getting this from you and someone else gave it to me. To me, it indicates a lack of impulse control. It indicates that you need the next best thing all the time. And that's not me saying that Steph was the best partner, but relationships are not always the high. You're not always on that adrenaline high. Sometimes you're here and sometimes you're here. And so I just wonder what that actually looks like. On to our next couple though. So Karen and Amberly.
But nothing happened. We got drunk.
I'm never going to believe that. Are you serious?
I'm being honest. I'm being 100% honest with you. Like.
For her, his confidence immediately attracted her to him, and they were best friends in the beginning. So she invited him over and they talked for hours in the beginning. So it was definitely one of those couples where you hit it off, you're on the phone with it. I feel like not everybody, but I've definitely had a kind of a relationship like that where we hit it off. We'd be on FaceTime for hours and then didn't really work out. But it's like that high in the beginning of just finding somebody where you guys click. Sometimes you're better left as friends. Let's just say not every time you meet somebody that you click with of whatever sex you're attracted to doesn't mean that it needs to turn into something romantic. Sometimes are better left as friends. And I've noticed that in those kind of dynamics. So the relationship broke down and she did end up going to her ex's house. Now they had some fight on a boat in Portugal where basically he had went back to a hotel room with 2 women and he had slept in the same bed with them. However, he claims that nothing happened. She thought that they slept in the same bed. And then she also at some point went to her ex's house. Let's jump into it because again, this couple, they are very messy and it is very clear that the 2 of them have done a bunch of things to get back at each other. So he admits that he met 2 girls and he went to bed with them at the hotel room. He says that he went to bed drunk. It was not a big deal. He says he just slept in the bed, but he was really, really drunk. So she's like, what were you doing up until 4 a.m. then? You say it was just a drunken night. I never slept with those girls, but that's crazy. Because how do we even get from point A to point B? How do we get from y'all are in a boat, whatever, to, okay, now you're with these 2 girls and you're drunk and you're in the bed with them? What happened there? There has to be more than that. And you're not just going to a hotel with 2 girls to do nothing but sleep. Kieran, miss me with it. So he starts to bring up her texting about the ex, her texting about effing her ex. She does admit that she slept with someone else when they broke up. Now, he claims that he never did anything with either one of those girls. And baby, again, I feel like this couple is definitely lying. I feel like this couple does not want to admit that they have both done things to get back at each other. And frankly, I think this is a couple where it's very clear that they bring out the worst sides of each other and they should not be together at all, period. Let's keep on going. So we have Sean and Tegan. Now,
Left with you?
No, I was in the bar.
Yeah.
I left the bar and went over to the club. Said I'm going to get a taxi home. And she says, oh, can I come back to find out?
When were you going to tell me?
I don't know, Tegan.
They met on Tinder and they did not originally want to go on a date, but eventually she did convince him, or he did convince her, let's say, to go on that date. So she says that Sean was not her normal type, but she fell for his personality. I just feel like whenever people pick out that someone's not their normal type, there's just something, I don't know. To me, it's like, that's cool if you have a type and everything, but when you need to point it out, to me, that seems to indicate that something in your head is still not clicking with being with that person, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I just didn't feel that she was pointing that out. Now, they moved in within a few weeks. And I'm like, ooh, a few weeks? So y'all met on Tinder. You originally did not like him. He originally was not your type, but he convinced you to go on a date, and then somehow you moved in. And then when they moved in, all of a sudden, a girl reached out to her on every social media and told her that he cheated. There was a photo of him at a lounge with the girl. He claimed that it was his ex-girlfriend and that they didn't have a chance to fully break up. And I'm like, child, no. First of all, why are you moving in with a man within weeks? No. We need to not do that. Ladies, let's not be doing that stuff. Why are we moving in within weeks? I get it, you know, sometimes you fall into this whirlwind and it's amazing. But especially when I was meeting guys off the apps, honey, I needed to make sure, and it took me more than weeks, to make sure that he was single. Because it is not uncommon for the guys on these apps to be talking and dating multiple people and maybe even have relationships that are unfinished. So no, I don't, Tegan, And Sean, you dirty dog, because you know you manipulated the girl. Was he homeless? I want to know if he was homeless. Is that why he wanted to move in so fast? Because he didn't really have a place to stay? I just have questions. Okay, so Sean does clarify in their one-on-one that they did meet at a lounge, they took a picture, and nothing happens. Then he says that he kissed the girl, and he tries to remember, like he fakes like he doesn't really remember what happened, and I'm like, come on. You know what you did, Sean. You know if you kiss this girl, there's pictures out there. So he claims that the girl asked to take a cab back to his place, and then they both went upstairs, and then that morning they slept together, and the girl in the morning was like, oh, do you have a girlfriend? And he said no. even though he was dating Tegan at the time. He claims he said no because he didn't want it to be a messy situation and he didn't want the girl to find out and he didn't want Tegan to find out. So he says that he said no. However, the girl sent Tegan a voicemail of him begging her not to tell Tegan, not to say anything. The girl exposed him straight up and was like, I'm not doing this. But again, sis, you were willing to sleep with him. So you were willing to sleep with him and then you want to send his girl. I mean, maybe you found out later. Okay, I don't know. Maybe you found out later. So eventually Tegan did come back, but she did break up with him because she realized that it changed the dynamic of the relationship that she had with others. She realized being in this relationship, she wasn't as trusting. A lot of her energy was drained. She was different. She wasn't able to spend time. And hey, I totally respect that because I think that being cheated on is something that is very traumatizing and it really does change the way that you look at other people. And I think especially getting back with the person that cheated on you, you're not going to be the same. There's a big breach of trust. For Sean, I feel like he's not even being 100% honest. It took a lot to get the story out of him. And again, what was even the reason in the first place? A lack of self-control. A lack of self-control. I'm tired of people saying I cheated because it was my partner's fault. And they went, no, it doesn't matter who you were with. If you don't have the self-control to see an attractive woman at a night out and not sleep with her, that's a problem with you. So this couple, again, a lot of hurt, a lot of resentment. It seems like Amberly still wants... not Amberly, sorry, Tegan still wants to be with Sean, but it definitely seems like that wall is up and it really did change the way she looked at things. So Olivia and Liam, and as I said, Liam baby is a menace. Menace. Child.
Realise how much that betrayal affected me. I don't think you realise that.
All I know is ever since then, all that time ago. Obviously, you know that we've always had issues, especially with your jealousy.
Ciao. So Olivia and Liam, they met on a night out. She was 18 years old and she instantly knew he was the one. And again, this is why I say it's fine to date young, obviously, but this is the problem. When you are 18 years old and you think someone is the one, baby, your frontal lobe ain't even developed. Who I was attracted to at 18 years old, I am definitely not attracted to now. But anyway, he treated her like a princess, all of these different things. However, he kissed another girl early on, and I would assume that he was also very young as well. So again, I feel like that's that stage where your hormones are all over the place. You're a player, you're doing the most. Not defending him, obviously, because Liam is terrible and a liar. But I just think that this is the problem with having these high school sweetheart 10 years long relationships, when it's very clearly indicated in the beginning that this should have just maybe been a casual thing between you two. But of course, at the age of 18, you want the fairy tale life. You want to be a princess. You want this to be the fairy tale relationship, your Cinderella story, and I just don't know about all that. So recently, Olivia has found out that Liam cheated again during their relationship. The girl has come forward. She has talked to her in detail about everything that happened. So they're one-on-one. Olivia immediately tries to address the cheating, and then she goes into how how Liam was always very flirty with females. He was always very, very open, let's say, to female friends. And she even talks about how he would invite her female friends to his family gatherings, but he would not invite her. And I'm like, wait, what? Is this a mutual friend group that you had? Because why in the world would your boyfriend be inviting your female friends to his family gatherings and not you? That seems very weird to me. So I'm just curious if this is a mutual group. As I said, they met when they were 18. I think it's not uncommon to have just like a big group that, y'all go to college together, you're all young, you all hang out, but I just don't know. That seems very, very weird to me. So Liam immediately launches into being the victim, and this is a big thing about Liam. He is always the victim, okay? He is always the one that's being attacked. So he says he feels like he can't do anything right, and everything's on him, and all he's trying to do is make her happy, and blah, blah, blah. So She launches into the cheating. He immediately denies it. She pulls out the receipts on her phone and says, what is this then? The girl literally said that you guys slept together. She went into detail. What is this? Why are you lying? She is like, do you know this girl? Sorry, I'm getting my words messed up because Liam made me so mad. She's like, do you know this girl?
Do you know this girl?
Putting a ring on that finger and taking it to the next level. You're the best girl that I've ever been. But if you're going to continue to let outside people always affect you, trust me.
Episode 2, let's keep going. So he denies knowing this girl. Liam straight up is like, I don't know her. I don't recall anything. I swear I didn't do it. And you can tell this man is lying. He looks like a deer in headlights. He is lying through his teeth. And remember, the point of coming to this little retreat or whatever was supposed to be honest. And Liam is still sitting here being a liar and having this hold over Olivia and manipulating her. And she knows deep down inside it is wrong. And that's why I say these long-term 10-year relationships when you're young, it is hard to leave. Trust me, I was with somebody I met when I was 19 and it was hard for me to leave. Eventually I could. When he would cheat, when he would lie to me. But it was hard because it's also like, oh my God, this is a first love and we went through everything together and it's like almost like a trauma bond of sorts. So I can understand where Olivia is having a little bit of trouble. Now, he denies this. He completely denies kissing her. He denies messing with her. He denies everything. Now, he said, Olivia's like, okay, so my best friend though went on a night out with this girl who also verified everything that happened. He still lies. He tries to say, oh, there's always going to be someone that's talking shit. There's always going to be someone talking about me. There's always going to be someone that's saying something. And I'm like, Liam, get out of here. What is wrong with you? So she is wondering, why? Why should I believe you? Why should I believe anything you say? And he starts to blame her insecurities. And I'm like, oh, I know you're not doing this. I know you are not trying to say that it is this girl's insecurities that are the problem when you know you are lying. Oh, baby, I wanted to jump in the TV myself. Now, he then continues the manipulation. It says, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I was planning to put a ring on your finger. I was planning to put a ring on it to, right after we did this. But I'm not going to lie. If you can't get over the insecurities, that's not happening. So it's either get over the insecurities and then we will get married, or it's not going to happen. He gives her an ultimatum then and there. And I'm like, Olivia, is this your king? I know this is not your king, Olivia, because this is crazy. This man gaslit you that it was your insecurities, even though you are showing him legitimate receipts of what happened. He gaslit you into thinking it's your insecurities and then had the nerve and the audacity to give you an ultimatum, manipulate you with saying, oh, I was gonna marry you, but not if you act like this no more. Olivia, wake up, baby. Wake up, baby girl. Wake up, because this ain't it. This ain't it. Ooh, no way. All right, let's go on to our next couple. So we have Craig and Jen.
From literally the beginning.
Initially, and it was wrong with me, but I was in a place where I was unhappy. Things just went off between us.
They met at a gas station, and he eventually had to admit that he was still in a relationship with his daughter's mother. These men be out here living double lives. You didn't, because Jazz, you didn't know this man had a daughter, did you? Again, what would make you want to be with this man? Not only was he cheating on you, but he was also cheating on the mother of his child. What is the appeal? What makes you want to come back to him? So Immediately, Jazz admits that he made mistakes and he knew that he was wrong. She is wondering why. Why did you even get my number? Why did you even want to do that? He says that he saw a beautiful human being. He couldn't resist. Basically, he says, you were beautiful. I couldn't resist. And I got caught up. I got way too caught up. And then we ended up here. Again, lack of impulse control. Just because you get into a relationship does not mean that you're suddenly going to find no women or anyone attractive. That's just not reality. That's why when you're in a relationship, you have to have impulse control, because there are still going to be people that you find attractive. And as a person, if you can't handle not making a move or crossing boundaries, maybe you should be single and casually date. And be with people who are also casually dating and are okay with that dynamic. But child, this man has a whole child with his child's mother. So he says that he found the right person at the wrong time. That's not real. Okay, I think that's real sometimes, but I think more times than not when people say that, it's the wrong person. It's the wrong person. Yes, there are literally some times in life where you should just be single and work on yourself. But why would it be the right person at the wrong time? Why wouldn't you break up with the mother of your child? Okay. So he lied saying that they were living together, but not together. So to Jazz, he told her, oh yeah, I shack up with my baby mama basically, but we're not actually in a relationship. I would never believe that. Child, luckily I never had that experience, but if there was a man that I went on a date with and he said he lived with his ex, I don't care whether you're together or not, I would not have been with him, because to me, there's just not enough of a boundary there where I know that you guys are not together. But anyway, so for Jazz, of course, she's very hurt. She says, I didn't realize I was a side chick. I didn't sign up to be a side chick, and I would have never, ever entered into something with a man that I knew was in a relationship. And not only that, but had a child with that woman. Now, she says that loving him was very, very easy, but falling out of love has been the challenge. So Rebecca C. and Dan.
Rebecca was just extremely fiery, but she was also so caring and loving. She used to call us like twin flames.
I was willing to leave my family, my friends,
You made me feel like I wasn't good enough in the relationship.
What do you mean?
The thing you said to me when we broke up was, I need someone that can take me to nice restaurants.
They met and they spent a whole 3 days together. They met in Ibiza. Now, she was willing to leave her friends, her family, her everything for Dan because she wanted to be with him so badly. And that's already a red flag. Baby, you shouldn't have to leave your entire life, your entire everything for a man. And if you drop everyone in your life mentally you feel that you have to drop everything in your life, or you're willing to, I don't think you're prepared to be in a relationship. I just don't. There is a way to prioritize a relationship while still having relationships with other people around you. Again, made that mistake, dropped a bunch of people in my life for somebody just for that person to drop me in the end, or to cheat on me, which is essentially dropping me. And so that has taught me such a strong lesson in relationships moving forward that it doesn't matter. I'm not going to ignore my friends or ignore other people, my family, whoever. I'm not going to ignore them for you. And if a partner or a relationship makes you feel that way, then you're not ready. And if you mentally feel that you cannot handle a partner and having other relationships, then you are not ready. That's my personal opinion. Now, he was messaging other girls the entire time. And I'm like, girl, surprise, surprise. You met the guy seemingly on vacation and you were quick to want to change everything. Did he give you validation that that was something he was ready for? So for Dan, he basically does not classify talking to other girls at bars, holding their hands, putting his arm around them as cheating. She does. And it's like, again, were you guys in a formal relationship? I'm not saying this makes it better, but to me, it very much gives vacation fling, where Rebecca felt like they were very, very serious, and Dan clearly was not getting that vibe. And that's not me blaming him, but I'm just a little bit curious about what the dynamic was of it, if they talked about any dynamic whatsoever. So he feels that she wants a lot of nice things, expensive dinners, and that he feels like he is not able to provide that, essentially. He doesn't feel like he can be that guy that's going to give her all these things, so he doesn't, I don't know, so he cheats. essentially. Now she says, well, we never went on like a nice dinner or anything. I think we had one nice dinner for my birthday and that is it. So for her, she was very confused because in Ibiza, he was showering her with money and now all of a sudden it's different. Talking about some, oh, I don't have it or I can't give you all of that. And I'm like, girl, again, not defending Dan, but girl, you can't tell this man was just showering you on a vacation? You can't tell that y'all were just having fun? You can't identify love bombing? This man was just having fun on a vacation with a hot girl from his perspective. And you are confused thinking that this was a real, I don't know. At least to me, when I was listening to it, I was like, Rebecca, I don't know. Now Dan, excuse me, he claims that he got cold feet and that's the reason why he stopped. So Connor and Lucia, they were both each other's first loves.
I went out with the lads, ended up going on with the girl. When Lucia did turn up at my house in the morning, the girl was still in my bed. Just started panicking. I said, gone out, I did what I did, which I know I shouldn't have done. I still regret it to this day. Because I know I shouldn't have done that to you. I got genuine, like I...
No.
Okay, good. We'll just see what happens then, yeah?
They talked about children, they talked about the future, everything together, but he had a wandering eye. He thought that he could get away with cheating, but 3 days later after he cheated, Lucia found a watch on the bed or some article of clothing on the bed. And I'm like, y'all don't even cheat well. Y'all don't even cheat well. What you mean she left her article of clothing on the bed and it was found 3 days later? Okay, whatever. So his why for cheating is that he was young and immature. Okay, how long ago was it? Because you're not changing your entire self in like a year or two. He felt that buying a home put a lot of pressure on them. And because of that, he started to also get cold feet. And I'm like, so why go through with it? So you bought a home with the woman. And then after you bought the home, you realized that it wasn't going to work. Do y'all talk? I don't know. Do y'all talk about the stability of your relationships before you make big choices? Now, he's like, so you talking to anyone else in here? You cracking on with anybody yet? And Lucia is very, very offended. She's like, what are you talking about? Why would I be talking to another guy in here? It's very clear that Connor is kind of taking this as, excuse me, he is taking this as a joke. Talk about something, you talking to anybody else in here? Ooh, baby. Another one where I am just so confused because how were you guys so far along in that relationship, buying a house together, purchasing property together, and then you realize, oh, I'm not really feeling it like that anymore. Okay. But that is it. That is the one-on-ones and everybody goes on home before we go to the reckoning room. So back home, both of the houses, they're playing some games. It's nothing really serious. Something of note is that Connor does say, out of all the girls in the house, that he would take Amberly on a date. Just remember that. So the next morning, they are going to be coming face to face with their exes in the reckoning room as said, and they are going to have to decide then and there, do you want to continue? You guys had your chance to get everything on the table. You had your chance to tell everything that happened. So now, do you want to continue or do you want to keep going? Andre realizes that he just wants Steph to take full accountability for leaving so quickly, I guess. I don't know. I thought it was interesting because I'm like, what is Steph taking accountability for? You are the one that cheated and you physically cheated 3 times. So what does Steph owe you? That's, I think, the irritating part of a lot of cheaters to me is that they have such an entitled attitude that they believe their partner owes them anything. I just don't really get it. She doesn't owe you a certain response or a certain level of empathy because you did not have enough self-control to step out. And again, if you felt that she was not giving you the attention that you needed in the relationship, or there was something emotionally that you were missing, be a man, speak up and tell her that you needed more than she was providing. Now for Steph, she realizes that Andre's actions are not matching his words, and she's not about to let a man walk all over her, as you shouldn't. But baby, you'd unfolded to this man anyway. So let's keep going. Now, Rebecca feels that Biggs does not respect her, and he felt very, very confident, though. For Biggs, he feels very, very confident to go into the reckoning room. He feels great, but Rebecca does realize Biggs doesn't respect her. Of course not. And you let him disrespect you. I'm not blaming you. It's his fault. But you are letting him disrespect you because there were cheating allegations all throughout and you did not leave. Okay. Olivia feels that it is make or break time since Liam made his feelings clear. Okay, that ultimatum, once again, you better take my cheating, you better accept it, you better accept my lying, or I'm not gonna marry you, is crazy work. So they go on to the reckoning room. Paul, our therapist, he opens up the room with the fact that there was not full transparency. There are some people at this table that still lied to their partner in the one-on-ones yesterday. So we start with Amberly and Kieran.
Firstly, we weren't together at that moment. This is after 3 years of going through multiple things that you've done to me, yeah? We're talking about...
Kieran, I think one thing that you need to own is you keep saying, I was in bed with 2 girls and I didn't cheat.
I said I didn't physically do anything. That's what I mean by that. I didn't say I didn't cheat.
Really? I understand. However, in order for Kieran to move on, he needs this. So Amberly, I'm gonna ask you one more time. Have you cheated on?
So she walked out of their little one-on-one date, so they want to get a little bit more clarity. Now, rudely, Kieran is like, so who were you talking to after the relationship? And all the men start to check his tone. Kieran was being a little rude. I'm like, okay, Kieran, simmer down. Because the two of y'all did a lot of mess to one another. And again, this is a couple that you could tell they have a lot of hate in their heart for each other. They got a lot of hate between the two of them. I don't know why y'all are here. Now, she says, after this happened, after they were done. He says that she told him that he cheated on the boat. And I'm like, here we go again. We're going back to the boat thing. We're going back to this whole thing. Didn't you cheat on the boat? Did you cheat? Did you go to your ex's house? Did you not go to your ex's house? So Paul is like, look, it seems that you guys disagree on what betrayal is. Okay, because Amberly also tries to say, I didn't say I cheated. I told you there were other options to sleep with after they had this big blow up. He claims that she said that she went to her ex's house and cheated. She claims that she told him that there's other options. And I'm like, oh my God, you two are an absolute mess. So Paul is like, look, I'm gonna ask you a question straight up, Kieran. Okay? Were you in the bed with these 2 other women? Do you consider that to be cheating? Kieran says yes. He finally says, yes, I cheated on her. Amberly tries to again say, well, I mean, I guess, yeah. And he's like, ha! No excuses. Do you think you cheated on Kieran? We don't need to hear the whole backstory about how you went to your ex's house and it wasn't a real thing. Eventually, Amberly says yes, that she cheated. And I'm like, we came to a consensus that both of you guys can agree that you cheated on one another. Lord, these two, I don't see it working. I just don't see it working. They have so much resentment for each other. So Rebecca and Biggs. Biggs claims that he wanted the party life at the time, while Rebecca wanted to settle down. So for him, he was preparing himself from heartbreak.
Hurting myself.
Rebecca, do you feel like you were pushing Biggs away too?
I feel like I pushed out. I didn't even like myself, no mind like Biggs.
Okay.
Which is strange. I was like, okay. What? If you felt like you did not want the life she wanted, be a man and speak up and say you did not want that life, sir. But anyway, Rebecca admits that she pushed everyone away in her life because she was not feeling good about herself. And that is the only reason why the relationship ended. Again, remember, she admitted that it wasn't because she thought Biggs was cheating. It was just simply because she didn't feel good. So she was again wondering, had I not ended this, would you have said anything to me? Now, he claims that this is the first serious conversation that the two of them have ever had in their relationship about anything. And Paul is like, what? And I also said, what? How were y'all together for 2 years and you never had a serious conversation before this? This is what do y'all talk about in these relationships? So Paul is like, yesterday's conversation was supposed to be serious, though. The conversation that you guys had one-on-one where you're supposed to put everything on the table. So why did you make that a joke? Biggs gets into the fact that he was never given the skills and the tools to emotionally express himself in that way. And Paul does chime in. Paul is a black man. Biggs is a black man. So he says, hey, look, like in this upbringing, in our upbringings, we were taught never to cry, never to be vulnerable. So it is understandable that you may mask a lot of things with humor, but you have to be able to break down that wall in order to make connections with other people. He encourages Rebecca to realize that maybe everybody doesn't have the same upbringing. So have a little empathy and you guys may be able to understand each other a little bit more. And okay, I think that was fair advice. I think obviously when it comes to cheating and when it comes to stepping out of a relationship, there's something that needs to be spoken about. Even if it's just that lack of self-control, even if it's not ready to be committed to one person. So I do agree that you need to have the emotional bandwidth to have conversations with other people. The problem is Rebecca ain't buying this. Rebecca is not buying any of this. Rebecca is so fed up and tired. So Lucia and Connor. Connor feels that it went very well. However, Lucia was very confused. She was like, I'm not sure why you asked me if I was talking to other people in this place. I just find that to be very weird. I'm here to work on things with you. So why are you asking me that kind of question? Paul says that he sees that Connor basically masks his insecurities with saying stupid stuff. And Connor does admit that he does feel embarrassed a little bit sometimes, talking about the cheating, admitting to things. And because of that, yes, he will say dumb things. And we see Connor continue to say dumb things throughout. This is not the first time Connor says dumb stuff. So right now, okay, but you could definitely tell Lucia is still feeling a little bit. And again, to me, it's not giving that Connor's taking this seriously. To me, it's giving a joke. It's giving, I'm a jokester. If you're not mature enough to have mature conversations, then hey, you don't have to. But girl, you ain't gonna push him into being mature. So Steph and Andre.
You didn't do anything.
Did I not ask you for a hug?
I don't want to hug you. You just told me that you cheated.
Did I not try and console you?
Why do you want to console me after you've just told me that you cheated?
Here to put back the pieces and fix what we had. And even make it better.
Steph says that when she was crying, Andre didn't really do anything and she really wanted to have that comfort from him. And Andre's like, I'm pretty sure I asked you for a hug. I'm pretty sure I asked you to hold your hand. I'm pretty sure I asked you if you wanted it. She's like, why would I want something from you? Why would I want a hug from you when you treated me terribly? Why would I want? And I'm like, Steph, girl, you still got feelings for this man, okay? You got feelings for this man. You got feelings and anger because you want him to comfort you, but you don't want him to touch you. Again, Steph is another one where it gives, I want my vindication. I want to be able to say I was right. And I get that. And I think you have every right in the world to be right and shout that out when you realize that your partner cheated on you. But I feel like in this, it's very clear that her mind is all over the place. It's very clear that her emotions are all over the place because what actually do you want from him? Now, he admits that he did try to get Steph back 6 months ago, but it didn't work. So he says again that for him, the biggest mistake of his life was cheating on Steph. And it's very, very clear that Andre has been trying and trying and trying and trying and trying to get Steph back. And it seems more like Steph has kind of taken a back seat, as she should. As you should, girl. You go no contact with the man. But of course, those feelings are still there. And emotionally, she wants that love and she wants that affection from him. And I think it's hard to get over. I think that's one thing about being cheated on is that you don't automatically lose feelings for the person. As foul as it is to you, those feelings don't just snap away. And I think that's what you see in a relationship like Andre and Steph. So Rebecca and Dan.
And I wasn't able to do that towards the end of the relationship. So I'm extremely sorry for that.
He reflected on everything and he realized that he is the problem and he has caused most of the issues in the relationship. So he apologizes for cheating, not loving her the way she wanted to be loved, not showing affection, and he knows that he needs to work on himself for them to move forward. And Rebecca loved hearing that. Rebecca says she has never heard Dan talk like that before. She's never gotten those words, but a lot of people at the table are skeptical. It was giving performance art. It was giving performance art. That's not to say that he wasn't serious, but to me, it's like, what made you right here, right now, right this second, after being so stringent about the fact that you were right, made you realize you were wrong? So a lot of people at the table are not feeling it, but Rebecca loves it because she's never gotten that vulnerability from Dan before. Now, Sean and Tegan, yesterday was the first time that he realized how much this affected him, and he didn't have the right words.
You wouldn't even be here today.
Sean, can I just say something? Doesn't seem very remorseful to Tegan of what's actually happened.
He talks a lot about how this all got to him. He doesn't really talk a lot about Tegan's feelings at all. He talks about how he was very hurt, how he struggled through it. And I'm like, Sean, I don't know about you. Now, Paul points out that there needs to be a little bit more emotional intelligence regarding Sean, and he points out how Tegan keeps score. And this one, I was like a little bit on the fence because I'm like, but he cheated. So it's okay to keep score. I understand that, yes, typically in a relationship, keeping score and having a rap sheet of what your partner did is not healthy. But at the same time, it seems like there is a lack of accountability with a lot of things. And there's a lack of actually admitting things with a lot of these people. So it's hard. And I do think, yes, what I will agree on is that if you're going to get back with him, you have to let it go. That's my biggest thing. I would say, hey, if you're going to get back with a cheater, like I had, some of my girlfriends in my life or whatever, they don't ask me advice about getting back with a cheater. And my biggest thing is always, if you going to get back with a cheater, you have to let it go. You cannot be bringing up the cheating 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, 4 years later. If you choose to get back with that person, then you're going to also have to, yes, drop the scorekeeping. You're going to have to drop the passive aggressive comments about it. You're going to have to drop the resentment about it. And that's why for me, I've always said I can't get back with a cheater. I just couldn't. When I was in that 6-year relationship, I knew that if I got back with him, I would never let it go. Every time we had a fight, I would go back to it. And I knew for me, at least the trust was broken. So that's a big part of, too, getting back with a cheater that for me, I feel like is an extreme hump. So I do agree with that fact that you got to kind of rein it in on the scorekeeping. But we're going to just have to see how it goes with those two. So, whew, baby. Craig and Jazz, there isn't much there, but Craig once again says he wants to do everything he can to fix the relationship. And for Jazz, she's never seen Craig be this vulnerable, so it's opening up a new side of him. Now on to Liam and Olivia.
Face to face, that I think is one of the most dangerous things that can happen in a relationship. You'd issue an ultimatum.
Olivia says that she walked away from their conversation feeling like she was the one that did something wrong. Because remember, again, Liam flipped the entire thing and proceeded to give an ultimatum. Now, Liam got an answer for everything. Liam says, well, it took her 10 years to get over the first cheating, the original kiss. And mind you, he still cheated more in the relationship. But it took her 10 years to get over it. He's like, I'm not going to deal with that again. I'm not going to deal with waiting another 10 years. And again, I'm like, the first thing I think about with these two is y'all are too young to be in this kind of relationship. Y'all were too young. Talk about something. It took 10 years. And you guys are talking about from 18. Oh my gosh. It's just too much. Now, he claims that he is not blaming her, but Olivia brings up, well, what about the ultimatum? And Paul is like, yeah, so here's the thing. That is not okay. We cannot be in relationships giving ultimatums and pressing people into a corner. And if you want to leave, you can leave right now. You could walk out that door. And I was hoping he would, because this was a cliffhanger on episode 2. I was like, he better walk out that door. Please save us from these two. And Olivia, save Olivia, because Olivia's not going to leave. Poor Olivia is literally so lost in the sauce, it's not even funny. So I'm like, let's let this man leave. But unfortunately, that does not happen. We get to episode 3 and Liam says he is definitely not walking out.
I don't know where I stand with him. I don't know how he feels. I don't know what he's thinking.
I spent 10 years investing in
He has realized that all he wants is Olivia and all he wants is to be here. Once again, Olivia claims that she has the text messages from the other girl that Liam slept with. Liam claims again that it is BS. And I'm like, the way this man can lie so easily is crazy. If I was Olivia, I would also just be considering what else this man lies about to you. Because the fact that he can lie about something this big so easily means he lies to you a lot about the little things. That's what I noticed. Shit, in my situation, when I realized, oh my goodness, this man is cheating on me, he's lying to me, I started to realize he was lying about a lot of stuff. It all started to come together. And I'm sure for Olivia, there have been signs that he's been lying. There have been little things that he's lied about where it's like, whoo. But that's the problem, is that Liam has an answer for everything. He will talk that ear off. He will run around in a circle to talk to you about that point and still get nothing out. So she does not believe him. Olivia is like, I don't believe you. And so Paul is kind of like, well, what will it take for you to believe him? And she says, look, I'm going to need him to show that he's committed. I'm going to need him to show that he really wants to fight for this relationship. He reiterates that he spent 10 years focused on her and no one else. And I'm like, that's not even true though. This is not true. I don't know what to tell you. So Olivia still feels that Liam has manipulated the situation after the fact. And Liam feels that he and Olivia, they will move past this whole thing since everything's on the table. And I'm like, yeah, Liam, what you're expecting is that you're going to lie so much that she's going to drop the cheating thing. So back home, there is a lot of chat amongst the people about Dan's apology. They are feeling like that man is so disingenuous.
Your speech clear as what he did. I can sense when something's not right.
I was so, finally, I've got him to recognise that he's in the wrong.
Dan's speech was lovely, and it kind of threw us a bit when everyone was kind of...
Like, he is not meaning what he says. And again, it came off like such a big performance. And Rebecca is like, I don't understand. Like, why is everybody saying it's disingenuous? I loved hearing that. So the fact that people think that it's not genuine is kind of scaring me. I'm like, girl, I don't know. But on to the next day. So everyone at the retreat is going to be spending time with somebody that Paul hand selected for them that relates to their relationship situation. And this person is supposed to give them a little bit of insight on their relationship, maybe give them some possible insight on what they should work on. So let's get into these pairings, okay? So Olivia and Rebecca G. This is the first pairing. So for Olivia, she is really, really ready to hear what Liam has been saying behind the scenes over at the other villa. Now, for Rebecca, she never expected Biggs to cheat. She, in her end, thought that she and Biggs had an amazing sex life. They were best friends. Everything was great. And again, Rebecca, I ask, where were you? Again, I'm not going to deny that these men don't be performers, because look, Biggs gives performer. But to me, it is just so crazy that this is such a shock. I just don't understand when there were allegations throughout the relationship. So Rebecca is still in love with Biggs. But again, there's a lot of resentment there. Now, Olivia does let Rebecca know that over at the other villa, Biggs has been talking about how Rebecca's his best friend, how he loves her, this and that and the next thing. And of course, that melts her heart a little bit. Now, they do get into the differences between Liam and Biggs, because Olivia says that with Biggs, it is very clear that he wants to fight, whereas Liam, he's just kind of thrown in the towel. Yeah, it's very clear that Liam has thrown in the towel. He's just tired. And again, y'all got together when you were 18 and were in a 10-year relationship. Your first relationship doesn't have to be your last. You two can break it off clean. It's okay. It's okay to grow up and realize it's not going to work. I don't know. Now, Olivia does reveal that she did talk to the girl that Liam cheated with. And Rebecca is like, baby, I would have left a year ago. And I'm like, Rebecca, who are you to talk, though? Because you stayed with Biggs throughout the relationship having cheating allegations. So I don't know. I'm a little bit mad. So Dan and Lucia.
No way.
I didn't mean to make you cry, honestly.
No, you don't understand. You can't have told me you wanted to come here. That's what you said to me, okay? So him
That's
doing
not
this
gonna
now.
Connor is feeling that really, really down, so he will be very, very direct with what he will need from Lucia. Now, she reveals that the guys felt that the apology was disingenuous because, remember, nobody was really feeling all that. And he gets real upset because he claims he did it with his heart and it was real and he meant it and blah, blah, blah. Now, he says that none of the guys could even, in the confessional, he's like, well, none of the guys understand me because they can't even bloody talk. And I'm like, okay, Dan, Mr. Soliloquies himself, because it was given fake to me as well. I'm gonna just keep it real. Now, Lucia feels that Lucia still does love Connor, but she's not sure how he feels. So Dan lets Lucia know that at the table, Connor had said that he wanted to get with Amberly in that little game. If he could pick anybody else, he would get with Amberly. So of course, Lucia's mind is racing. She is wondering if he's cracking on with someone else, and immediately Dan realizes yet again that he said something dumb. He realizes, oh my God, why did I say that to this girl? Especially when it might not be anything. And of course, with Lucia not being able to see Connor, she's crying, she's sobbing. Dan's trying to turn around and say, no, it wasn't like that. And I'm like, but end this conversation because this is going nowhere. This is going absolutely nowhere. And I don't know, man. They always play these games on these shows just to get people in trouble. It is too much. So Rebecca and Liam. At this point, Rebecca is committed to getting the truth from Liam.
Did that happen though, then, with that girl?
I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what she's talking about.
It's been, what, 10 years, did you say? Like,
Yeah, enough 11, man.
for all the allegations, all the cheating, I'd have been gone.
Other Rebecca. I think Rebecca C is her name. I don't know. There's two Rebeccas. But Rebecca lets him know that Olivia just wants clarity. And again, all the girls are on Rebecca's side, as they should be. Or Olivia, sorry. All the girls are on Olivia's side, as they should be. So Liam says, I got no idea what she's talking about. I have no idea what's going on. Still lying. Time number 3 or 4 now that this man has flat out, barefaced, no kind of remorse, no kind of sweat. He is so ironclad with the lie. It's crazy. This man's a sociopath. I'm telling you, he is a sociopath. Because if you can lie at that level, you are a sociopath, my friend. Rebecca reiterates again, look, Olivia just wants you to open up, Liam. So tell me, please tell me. So Liam is like, oh my God, if I admit to something, is it gonna take her another 10 years? Is it gonna be like this again? Because I can't do it. Again, Liam is such the victim and it took 10 years to get over it. And as I said, do not get me wrong. If you get back with a cheater, you gotta let it go. But at the same time, Liam, if it was so much for you, leave her. And the fact that you cheated on her multiple times, you don't have to stay with the girl you got with when you were 18 years old. You don't. Oh, but Liam starts to shut down. He tells her that he's seen a huge change in Dan since the first day. And things are very, very different now. He's way more emotional. He's way more open. So Rebecca wants to see more passion in Dan's eyes because right now he just seems very stone-faced, very cold, very much. Liam says that he is learning and if he would not be here if he was not serious in the first place. So that ends our first round of conversations. We go back home. Rebecca and Olivia. Rebecca feels really, really upset because she doesn't have anything to share with Rebecca about Liam.
Just didn't seem to like resonate with them that you were upset. That conversation was so enlightening because now I know how you feel. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
No, I feel.
Once again, Liam lied to her as well. And Rebecca starts to feel really guilty, really bad. Olivia starts to feel bad. They both start to cry because Liam is just such a menace. He makes everybody feel really, really bad. Now, Liam and Rebecca, he lets him know that she said that Rebecca has to change the cheating or admit the cheating or not. So no more. You need to admit that stuff or it is done. Craig asks, hey, is there anyone it could be? Anyone at all? Anyone at all? Because Olivia needs an answer from you. Olivia needs an answer. There's no more, I don't remember. Oh my God, what could have happened? She needs an answer. So he asks, could it be anyone? Is there anyone that it could be? And he says he doesn't remember. He says that he will address her. He is willing to admit it. You know, he says, once again, if she's got the details, he is willing to admit it. And I'm like, This manipulative POS. What do you mean if she has the details, you're willing to admit it? Ladies, stay away from this man. He is diabolical. He is a diabolical man. But no one believes him. No one is believing him. Everybody at this point is like, just admit that you cheated on this girl. When even the guys are clocking you, that's when you know you need to just come in, Liam, and tell the truth. So they have another set of swaps. We have Craig and Sean. So he is 100% in it with Jazz. It is hard for him to think about it not even working. But it's also hard to know that he has been giving all this validation that he wants to be with her, that he really likes her, and he's not getting the same thing back from Jazz. And I'm like, okay. Now, Sean relates as well with this whole thing, but he knows he messed up and all he really wants to do is fix things. They both just agree that they want to fix things with their girl and that there's nothing more, nothing less that they want. But they don't want to have to start fresh with anyone new. And I think that's very, very interesting. Because I feel like when people say that, well, I don't want to have to start over. I don't want to have to start fresh. I don't want to have to go through this again. I'm like, if that's the only reason that you're in a relationship, that's a bad reason. That's a bad reason. That's a real bad reason. Anywho, so next we have Steph, Andre, Tegan, and Kieran. And I was wondering why Steph and Andre were in a pair. That doesn't make sense to me, but okay. Anyways, Steph basically says that she wants to find out the truth because she really didn't know what was going on.
In the reckoning room, the last reckoning room that we had, I couldn't even look at you. But, you know, if I didn't want...
For Andre, he says that it was the biggest mistake of his life, messing things up with Steph, and all he wants to do is get back with her and for things to be good. So they hug it out. Steph does say that she is open and willing to letting him work on things, and it was just that easy. Now, with the other people in here, Andre lets Tegan know that Sean is very, very sorry and he does want to be with her, and Tegan lets Kieran know that Amberly has defended him a lot and has said that he is not a monster, because now it's this big thing that Sean feels like people are saying he's a monster, yada, yada, yada. So Amberly and Biggs, they also have a conversation. Amberly wants to be able to communicate more with Kieran, but Biggs notices that the minute they get together, it's real explosive. Yes, Kieran and Amberly, definitely a couple where there is a lot of tension and a lot of resentment between them. Now, Biggs says that he has never slept with anyone else. However, he has texted other women here and there.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
at
it's
least I
never-
can say that.
No, never. It was just like one
Okay.
night in London,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
that was
But have you done anything else along the way?
a couple of texts here.
That's cheating, sir. He claims he doesn't really remember the girl's name. It was nothing ever big. It was not a big thing. It doesn't matter. He didn't sleep with them. The text meant nothing, yada, yada, yada. He doesn't even remember the girl's name that he slept with. And then the other text meant nothing. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. It was nothing. I don't mean anything. It doesn't matter about... I don't know. To me, I would also be turned off being with a guy who is just so quick to say that another woman doesn't matter, that he could just discard women like that. I don't want to be, oh my God, you chose me over a pile of other women you discarded. To me, that sounds horrible, but okay. Back home, Amberly and Rebecca. Amberly does reveal the messages that were sent during the relationship, and as you can imagine, Rebecca is spiraling. So the next morning, there is a one-on-one between Paul and the couples. And we have a couple of them in this episode. We get to Connor and Lucia, and Liam, Olivia, and Olivia. Let's get in. Connor and Lucia. For Paul, the therapist, he basically sees that they will be good friends, but he's not sure that he sees anything romantic between them. So he gets into whether or not they felt that they were each other's first loves. They both admit that they were each other's first loves, and they had never really felt anything romantic before each other. However, Lucia is feeling pretty upset because she says that he's claiming, hey, I haven't seen her in 5 years. I don't even know her, but that's not true. In fact, Lucia's like, I was in your bed last week. I was just in your bed last month. Let's not say that. Now, he clarifies that he did not say that they didn't see each other in 5 years. It's just that they did not have the same bond. They saw each other here and there. And I'm like, Connor, that's not what you said. Now, Paul asks, okay, so when you guys had sex again, did you guys feel that same emotion and that same love that you originally felt? For Lucia, it's a yes. 100% she felt the same way. However, for Connor, he says that he felt not really the same way. He didn't really feel as strong of a feeling. And the reason why he's here in the first place is to even see if there's a spark. So at this point, once again, Paul wants a clarification. Are you just with her or are you just here for sex? And he says that he's not. He cares for her. He has a lot of care for her, but he does not necessarily feel that strong of a connection at this present moment. However, for Connor, there's a lot that he likes about Lucia. For one, she was always there for him with his family. When his grandmother died, Lucia was there. Paul tells a story about how he knew with his wife that she was the one because she was there when his grandfather died. And I'm like, yeah, but he still cheats on her. This is the problem. This is where I start to lose it with these kind of shows because I'm like, you can't force somebody into liking someone. This man is straight up says he doesn't really feel a spark. He likes her enough to F her, but it's very, very clear that he does not feel more for her. And this push into trying to get him to see that she's the right one, I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in this, well, she's the right one and he just has yet to see it. No, I didn't really like that. So essentially, he admits, hey, I'm not really in love with her. I'm not even really feeling a spark right now, but I want to see if we can get there. And I'm like, okay. It's just not it. It's just not it. So Liam, Olivia, and Paul. And actually, I'm going to do this in the episode 4 recap. There will be an episode 4 and 5 recap up tomorrow, probably. I want to save them because even though it is partially in episode 3, it's a cliffhanger. So I want to keep it all going. And we'll do that in episode 5. So we'll stop here. So if you made it to this point of the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. I know this is a long one. I feel like I have not done a long recap like this in a minute, but this show is very interesting. There is a lot to talk about. So if you actually made it here, it's a really good show. I recommend it. I also have a channel membership. It's next to the subscribe button. Hit it right here near the join button. But let's talk. Let me know what you guys think about this. If you're watching this, let me know what you think about these couples. And as I said, the next set of recaps should be up tomorrow or within the next couple of days. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.